I had been with my boyfriend for 3 years. I noticed that all his social media usernames were July. I thought he was simply a romantic who adored the warmth of July and loved summer. So I didn't dig any deeper. Until the day of our wedding, when his ex-girlfriend sent us a gift. On the card, the sender's name was July. I finally understood he didn't love the season or the month. He loved someone named July. In that moment, my heart sank into the abyss. Chapter 1. At my wedding with Fabian, a girl in a white dress got drunk. Fabian's face turned cold as he told her to stop making a scene. She ignored Fabian and smiled at me. Clara, I heard you're pregnant. Have you picked a name yet? I gently placed my hand on my belly and answered softly. Her nickname will be Juliet. Juliet. Her gaze shifted to Fabian, and her smile grew even wider. Tears even glimmered at the corners of her eyes. How could it be Juliet? He already gave up July. I froze, confused. The silence in the room was suffocating, until one of Fabian's childhood friends finally broke it. Sis-in-law. My classmates had too much to drink. I'll take her to the hotel. After they left, I couldn't hold back and asked Fabian, trying not to sound too suspicious. Fabian, who is she? Fabian looked straight at me, calm and composed. Not a hint of guilt on his face. Just an old classmate. I wanted to ask more, but he quickly changed the subject. Babe, our company's client drank too much. I need to go check on him. Okay. The words I wanted to ask got swallowed back down. I didn't know why, but watching him leave in such a rush filled me with an unexplained dread. Chapter 2. My best friend Amanda came to see me, holding a delicately wrapped gift box. She dropped the box in front of me and said bluntly, Clara, this is something your love rival left behind. A love rival? My heart skipped a beat. I instantly thought of the girl in the white dress, and my face went pale. The one who was crying her eyes out earlier. Remember? Amanda puffed her cheeks and rolled her eyes. Crying like that over someone else's groom? Shameless. Hearing this only made me more anxious. Amanda gave me a comforting pat on the shoulder, her tone full of certainty. Don't worry, your Fabian is known far and wide as a wife-doting maniac. He would never betray you. That's true. Fabian spoiled me to the core. Everyone said I'm married for love. I shouldn't be doubting him. I let out a long sigh and told myself not to overthink. As Amanda and I chatted, I absent-mindedly fiddled with the gift box. And then, my eyes caught the name written on the box. I looked more closely. So her name is July. Wait a second. July. Juliet. Something snapped in my mind. My jaw dropped, and I sat bolt upright, but my back couldn't even hold the weight of it all and collapsed again. My world instantly went dark. Clara, why are you crying? Don't scare me. Where's Fabian? Get Fabian for me. I need to see him. I have to see him. Okay. I'll get Fabian. You're still carrying the baby. You can't cry anymore. Chapter 3. With trembling hands, I handed my phone to Amanda. I needed to know where Fabian was. My voice was shaking uncontrollably. I want to video call him. Amanda nodded. As soon as the video call was dialed, Fabian hung up, clutching the edge of my veil tightly. I tilted my head upward, but tears still streamed uncontrollably down my face. Call him again. After countless hang-ups, Fabian finally called back, this time, with a voice call. His voice sounded hoarse. Babe, what's wrong? Where are you? My emotions could no longer be held back. He hesitated for half a second before changing the subject. I'll head back right now. I nearly screamed. Are you at a hotel? You went to see her, didn't you? I couldn't go on. I slumped helplessly in the corner, my voice thick with tears. Fabian, just tell me, who's July? On the other end of the line, there was only silence. I clutched my chest and sobbed uncontrollably, gasping for air, crying until my tears ran dry. I felt utterly pathetic. On our wedding day, his ex showed up, and he left me to go to a hotel with her. Even worse, I had been with Fabian for 3 whole years. All of his social media usernames were July. Even after I got pregnant and asked him what we should name our baby, he didn't even think. The answer just slipped out. Juliet. I had wondered what that month meant to him, but I respected him, so I never pressed the issue. Not until today did I finally realize his ex's name was July. How could he so shamelessly use my child to memorialize their love? What am I to him? What did these 3 years mean? If he hadn't let go of the past, why did he even start something with me? What did I do to deserve this? Chapter 4. Half an hour later, Fabian burst into the bridal suite, drenched in sweat. He asked Amanda to give us a moment alone. What is there to talk about? I looked up at him with red, vacant eyes. He knelt in front of me, emotionless. July is my ex-girlfriend. How long were you two together? 7 years. How long have you been apart? 4 years. Do you still love her? Fabian said nothing. That silence was his answer. I let out a laugh. And the more I laughed, the more tears fell. Why do you two do this? She can't let go of you. So she crashes my wedding. You can't let go of her. So you ditch me to see her. Fabian, what did I do wrong to deserve this from both of you? As I cried, I tore at my veil. Can you stop? Fabian pressed his lips into a line and tried to hold my hands down. Nothing happened between us. I just went to check on her. I stared wide-eyed at him, stunned he could say that so matter-of-factly. So, every time she cries, you're just going to leave me to go to her? I asked, nearly screaming. Fabian fell silent again. I don't know how long passed before he finally spoke. I'll still marry you. Just pretend this never happened. My vision went black, as if lightning had struck directly above me. A stabbing pain shot through my chest, followed by a wave of overwhelming fury. Did he think this wedding was a gift to me? I didn't want it. I really didn't want it. I staggered backward, collapsing against the wall, my face pale and body drenched in cold sweat. The baby inside me must have sensed my pain. It gave a tiny kick, but it felt like life and death all at once. I held my belly, overcome with sorrow. Baby, this was your first kick. How could it happen at a time like this? Chapter 5. Fabian frowned and reached out to help me up. I screamed at him uncontrollably. Don't touch me, you're filthy. Don't be like this, okay? Fabian stared at my belly and sighed. I never wanted to leave you. I mean it. Hearing that made me sick. He was disgusting. If I'd never met him, I could have had a clean, pure love too. I could have been happy. He ruined me. I grabbed my phone and hurled it at him without thinking. There's no wedding. Let's go get a divorce now. Fabian froze. A few seconds later, his expression turned cold, his words laced with irony. You're from a single-parent family yourself. Do you really think your mom will agree to you divorcing while pregnant? I never imagined, not in my worst nightmares, that Fabian would use my background to stab me where it hurt most. It felt like 1,000 knives tearing at my heart, each one chewing, corroding, piercing deeper than the last. I collapsed against the wall, sobbing until my voice was hoarse. I didn't even notice when he left. Chapter 6. After that day, Fabian and I were completely cold to each other. I moved back to my family home. Just like Fabian said, I grew up in a single-parent household. Before my father passed away, my mother lived like a widow with a husband who was never there. So, she couldn't empathize with me. When Fabian came to take me home, she was practically eager to send me back. Fabian already gave you a way out, why not take it? My mom kept urging me, stop hiding in your room and go talk to him. I almost begged her. Mom, please just tell him to leave. You're pregnant. Why are you making a scene? You need to swallow your pride on this one. I can't swallow it, I won't. Marriage is about turning a blind eye when necessary. She yanked the covers off me and saw my tear-swollen eyes. Her tone softened a little. And besides, it's not like Fabian cheated. But that wasn't it. Emotional betrayal is even worse than physical. My voice was heavy with despair. We were together for 3 years. He slept next to me every night. But his mind was on another woman. What am I to him? You overthink everything, she said flatly. I'm telling you now. No matter what happens between you two, don't even think about divorce. I won't be able to hold my head up. This was the first time I defied her. I will divorce him. She looked at me like I was a hopeless case. So what? It's your fault for not being good enough. If you were better, I don't believe Fabian would still be hung up on his ex. Mom, I broke down and cut her off. covering my ears. I didn't want to hear another word. I'm begging you. Please stop. Just stop. The weight of humiliation swelled in my chest until it spilled from my eyes. I wasn't the one at fault. So why was I being blamed? Why did the world have to be this absurd? Chapter 7. In the end, I was forced to return to Fabian's home, in our wedding suite. He handed me his phone. Go ahead, check it yourself. After we broke up, I never contacted her again. I didn't take the phone. I just let out a cold laugh. Does that prove you don't still love her? Fabian didn't answer. His grip tightened on the phone, the bones in his hand protruding, knuckles turning white. After a long pause, he unlocked his WeChat and searched for July, the latest message, from the group chat with his old classmates. He had said, "I'm getting married." Someone asked, knowingly, "Why didn't July tell us?" He replied, "It's not with her." The group chat fell dead silent. Minutes later, July had him. "Congrats! I wouldn't miss your wedding for the world." He didn't say no. He even replied, "Sure." At our wedding, July showed up in a flowing white dress, sitting in the audience, looking just like the bride. Fabian, standing beside me and making vows, choked up several times, clearly struggling to keep it together. At the time, even my best friend gushed. "Clara, you really married the right guy." Fabian cried during his vows. "He's so romantic." Now that I look back on it, I can't help but laugh. Fabian's acting was truly Oscar-worthy. Everyone thought that during his vows, he was thinking about a lifetime with me. But no, he was worrying about the woman in the audience, crying her heart out. July. See for yourself. Fabian's voice pulled me back to reality. I told you, nothing ever happened between me and July. I closed my eyes. I was just about to tell him to get out when his phone rang. It was one of his childhood friends, sounding urgent. "Fabian, July's in the hospital." Fabian froze. His expression complicated as he looked at me. "I need to go. We're not even divorced yet." How could he go see another woman so openly? I grabbed his arm like I'd gone mad. "Fabian, I won't let you go." He pressed his fingers to his temple in frustration, clearly annoyed. "Can't you go back to being the understanding woman you used to be? Why are you acting so unreasonable?" I turned away, opened the door, and told him to leave. Chapter 8. Fabian had just left when I received a text from an unknown number. "Clara, Fabian doesn't love you. Please give him back to me." Watching him get married felt worse than dying, to be honest. Before receiving that message, I never blamed July. I only hated Fabian for being so heartless, for building his love for one woman on the pain of another. But now, looking at that text, I realized they were exactly the same. Disgusting, selfish. If they loved each other that much, they should have locked themselves away together and never come out to ruin other people's lives. But still, before Fabian and I were legally divorced, July was nothing but the other woman. And mistresses don't get to act cocky in front of the wife. Swallowing my disgust, I sent her a scathing reply. "Where were you before, July? Do you enjoy taking someone else's husband that much?" She replied almost immediately. "Fabian and I were together for 7 years. If anyone's the mistress, it's not me. After all, the unloved one is always the third party." So in her twisted logic, I ruined her 7-year relationship with Fabian? Seriously? I didn't think anyone could be that shameless, until she bombarded me with message after message. "Stop clinging to Fabian. Do you really think I can't have him back anytime I want?" And again, "Clara, just divorce him. Deep down, you know you can't win against me." But I never intended to fight her. Once I realized there was another woman in Fabian's heart, I had only one thought: divorce. Split the assets. That man was already tainted. She could have him. Gladly. Chapter 9. After blocking July, I called my best friend Amanda. "Amanda, can you come with me to the hospital?" "Why do you sound like that? Are you sick?" "I'll come to your place now." Amanda rushed over without delay. She was at my door in under 20 minutes. The moment I opened it, she was clearly shocked. "What happened to you? You look like a wreck." I told her everything about Fabian and July, from beginning to end. My expression didn't change once, and my tone was eerily calm, as if I were telling someone else's story. I hadn't expected it to be this tragic. Amanda ended up crying on the spot. Through her tears, she told me, "Clara, it's Fabian and that trash woman who are to blame. They'll get what they deserve. You did nothing wrong. Your best days are still ahead." I hadn't planned to cry again, but hearing Amanda say that, I couldn't stop the tears from falling. I covered my face with a tissue, voice thick with emotion. "I have an appointment this afternoon. I need to go to the hospital." Amanda gently placed her hand on my belly and almost sobbed. "Your baby, it's already 5 months." Her words stabbed my heart like a knife. Tears dripped onto my stomach, one by one. "I'm sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. Mommy can't keep you." Chapter 10. At the hospital. After all the exams, the doctor hesitated before asking, "The baby is fully formed by now. Are you sure you want to go through with this?" Afraid the baby might hear, I replied with a barely audible, "Yes." The doctor nodded and asked me to lie on the cold surgical table. The needle slid slowly into my lower spine. After one injection, my consciousness began to fade. When I woke again, I was already in the hospital room. Amanda sat beside me. She gently told me the baby was gone. I thought I had mentally prepared myself, but the moment I touched my now flat belly, I felt like there was a massive hole carved into my body. Cold air rushed in through that emptiness, and I shivered all over. I had carried that child for 5 months. Of course it hurt. It felt like I'd lost a life. I couldn't even bear to think about it again. Every time the baby crossed my mind, it was like a needle piercing my heart, making tears burst from my eyes. "But baby, Mommy couldn't give you a happy life. Please don't blame me. I hope you go to a loving home in your next life, where someone treasures you, where someone loves you, where you never suffer, and live a long, long life." Chapter 11. When Amanda handed me my phone, she said, "While you were in surgery, Fabian called a few times." I didn't answer. I nodded, numb, and quietly added Fabian to my blacklist. Lying in that hospital bed, my mind gradually cleared. The baby wasn't just mine. Fabian had a part in it too. Now that the baby was gone, how could I keep it from him? Weakly, I called out to Amanda, "Can you put the surgery record, the medical file, all of it together? Give it to Fabian. Just tell him I've returned his Juliet." Amanda agreed, but after a long silence, she finally asked me, "Do you want to include the baby?" A sharp pain struck my chest, and tears spilled out again. I just want Fabian to suffer for the rest of his life. My baby. I only hope you rest in peace. Chapter 12. After receiving my gift box, Fabian supposedly stayed in bed for a full week. A week later, he showed up at Amanda's place, ready to settle accounts. Amanda opened the door and let him in. "If you have something to say, look her in the eye and say it." He barged in angrily, but the moment he laid eyes on me, his fierce expression froze in place. He looked at me, so pale, barely breathing, opened his mouth, but no words came out. He kept taking deep breaths, his jaw clenched tightly. After a while, he finally spoke, his voice trembling. "You hate me that much? You'd rather ruin yourself than have my child?" I nodded calmly, without another word. "Yes." He turned away, unable to look at me again. I remembered how much Fabian loved kids. The day he found out I was pregnant, he lifted me off the ground and spun me around in circles. A man who'd never touched a pot in his life suddenly followed recipes to make me nutritional meals. In the early weeks, I was constantly nauseous. He searched every folk remedy online and tried them with me, one by one, until I felt better. Later, when my belly started to show, he took me on walks every day, saying walking made labor easier. I used to tease him, "You're a man. What do you know about giving birth?" He'd smile and say, "Babe, if you're willing to carry my child, that means you love me deeply. I'll treat you well forever." He also said, "I'll be good to you for a lifetime." I never expected that lifetime to end so quickly. The moment July returned, that forever was over. Thinking of it made my eyes sting. But just sting. Deep down, I knew all of it had been lies. No matter how beautiful, a lie is still a lie. He had his July, and I had my path to walk. I said lightly, "I'll send over the divorce papers tomorrow." He whipped his head around in disbelief, brows furrowed with anger. "You're really in that much of a rush?" I didn't respond. I didn't need to. He let out a laugh of disbelief. His hands were trembling, his voice too. "You're really that cold? You can just stop loving me, just like that?" Seeing that look on his face for the first time, I couldn't help but smile. My values don't allow me to dig for love in a dumpster. That sentence gave me a sense of relief like never before. Fabian stood frozen. I glanced at Amanda. She got the message and quickly opened the door to show him out. Chapter 13. Worried that Fabian might mess with my mood, Amanda stuck close to me like a little sparrow, chattering away to keep me distracted. "Clara, I have to confess something." "What is it?" "That day you asked me to give Fabian the gift box. I didn't put the baby inside, but I printed a bunch of ultrasound photos and stuffed them in." Fabian looked like he got hit by a truck when he opened it. She peeked at me cautiously. "You're not mad, right? He's the baby's father too. It's okay if he sees them." "I know, but I was just scared he'd make things hard for you during the divorce. If I'd known, I might have held back." I was calmer than even I expected. "I'll find a way to prove he cheated. He won't be able to make trouble for me." Amanda tilted her head, studying me, and then slowly smiled. "Clara, you've changed. I mean that in the best way. With guys like him, the only way to win is to get stronger, and you've done it. Good for you." She said it was good, but her eyes were red with tears. Maybe I'd been through too much lately, but I felt more clear-headed than ever. I patted her shoulder and smiled. "Don't feel bad for me. I'd rather be the kind of woman who faces storms head-on and controls her own life than a flower protected in a greenhouse." Chapter 14. A week later, I sent Fabian the divorce agreement that my lawyer had gone over multiple times. I waited for several days, but the signed agreement never came back. I had no choice but to take him off my blacklist. I found his number and called. He picked up within a second. "Babe." I didn't expect him to still call me that. I froze for a split second, then frowned. "Fabian, is there something wrong with the divorce agreement?" "No." "Then when will you sign it?" "Some other day." "What day exactly?" On the other end, I heard the flick of a lighter. About 30 seconds passed before he finally said, "Do you really have to go through with this?" I couldn't understand what he was thinking. We didn't have a child anymore. There was nothing tying us together. What was he hesitating for? My tone turned cold. "You've asked that too many times. It's annoying." Fabian let out a mocking laugh, gritting his teeth. "Fine." Chapter 15. Another week went by, and the signed divorce papers still hadn't arrived. Meanwhile, July kept harassing me, urging me to leave Fabian as soon as possible. Since she was so desperate to embarrass herself, I saw no reason to play nice. I said, "I sent Fabian the divorce papers last month. He doesn't want to sign them. What do you suggest?" July didn't believe me. Instead, she sent me a long, melodramatic message to prove how much Fabian loved her. Fabian and I got together in college. The year we graduated was the hardest. We squeezed into a tiny apartment, shared a bowl of fried rice, drank hot water, but I never felt bitter. He treated me so well, like I was a child he doted on. Every holiday, every birthday, he gave me flowers, never missed a single gift. After we moved in together, he'd have breakfast ready before I even woke up, prepare foot baths at night, and took care of all the housework. All his friends knew about me. All his accounts were named July. Juliet was just a fancy cover for July. He even told his buddies, if I ever marry someone who isn't July, don't bother showing up. Even my parents said I'd found the best man in the world. If we hadn't broken up, you'd never have gotten the chance to marry him. He doesn't love you. Let him go. After reading it, I didn't even feel angry. Honestly, I pitied her. She thought what she had with Fabian was something special. But she didn't know. He did all the same things for me. The reason I agreed to marry Fabian in the first place, wasn't it because of how good he was to me? I didn't want to keep blaming her. My tone was calm, even polite. "All right, I'll go talk to him in person about the divorce today." Not even a second after I sent the message, My phone started ringing. I answered. On the other end was July's sharp, screechy voice. Clara, are you seriously that shameless? Stop trying to seduce Fabian. You're not allowed to see him. If I don't push him to sign the divorce, you'll always be the dirty little secret. I know it's not him refusing. It's you. You must have pulled something. What the hell did you do to him? She was hysterical. I responded, deliberately mocking her. If you've got that much time to scream at me, why not go pressure him? Didn't you say he loves you? If he loves you so much, why is he letting you stay his side piece? As soon as I finished, she hung up. I sighed. Thank God I snapped out of it in time and didn't become her. Chapter 16. After spending over a month recovering at Amanda's place, I finally returned to work. Maybe it was the emotional trauma from the marriage, but I no longer believed in love. I threw myself fully into my job. My coworkers noticed and couldn't help asking, Clara, why have you been working overtime so much lately? Your husband's okay with you pushing yourself this hard? My pen paused mid-stroke. I looked up and replied calmly, I'm filing for divorce. What? Everyone gathered around in shock. But you two were always so perfect. How could you suddenly split? I wasn't one for lofty explanations. I only knew this: when love fades, it's best to let go. Holding on only destroys you from within. I didn't want to talk too much about my private life, so I smiled and gently changed the subject. After a few sighs, they didn't press further. That evening, as I packed up to leave, one of my coworkers rushed over with gossip written all over her face. Clara, your husband is waiting for you downstairs. I had no desire to see him. I walked to the left window, pushed it open. The sky was a dusky orange. Against the glow of the setting sun, I couldn't make out his expression. I could only see him standing there, head slightly bowed, shoulders slumped. There was a quiet kind of loneliness about him. I took a photo and sent it to July. I didn't include a single word, but even that was enough to send her into a rage, like a cat with its fur standing on end. Because the next moment, I saw Fabian answering a call. I didn't know what they were saying, but Fabian suddenly raised his phone high, like he was about to smash it on the ground. Then, just as quickly, he lifted his head and looked up toward me. Our eyes met. He stood frozen, like a drawn bowstring on the verge of snapping. I curled my lips and gave him the brightest, most radiant smile. Chapter 17. Half an hour later, I got a WeChat message from July. It came with pictures and text. She wrote, Clara, don't get cocky. I told you, whenever I need him, he'll drop everything to come to me. In the photo, Fabian was leaning against a window, a cigarette dangling from his lips, his face obscured by the smoke. When we first got together, he was also a heavy smoker. After I got pregnant, he quit voluntarily, for the baby. He told me he only picked up smoking when life felt utterly bleak, and he swore that once he kicked the habit this time, no matter how rough life got, he'd never touch another cigarette again. Snapping back to the present, I replied deliberately, is that even worth bragging about? It's not like he slept with you. That shut July right up. A few days later, Fabian's company hosted its annual gala, and July sent me another photo. He brought me to the company event. We made up. Oh, I replied. To be honest, Fabian's entrepreneurial success had a lot to do with my support. 3 years ago, during the startup phase when he was tight on cash, I borrowed $1,000,000 from Amanda to help him through the crunch. Later, as the company grew, I joined him at countless dinners, playing the social game by his side. Everyone at the company knew I was Fabian's wife, so when July showed up at the gala clinging to Fabian's arm, people naturally started gossiping. At that moment, the deputy GM approached me with a polite smile. Sister-in-law, haven't seen you at the office lately. Been busy, I replied, pretending not to know anything. Aw, I see. But, sister-in-law, I saw Fabian with a woman. Not sure if she's his sister or... What woman? Can you send me the photo? I'm not sure I should. If Fabian finds out, he might blame me. Don't worry, I won't tell him anything. After a long hesitation, VP Ning finally sent me a photo of Fabian with July. Any more? He followed up with several more. In the first photo, July had her arm around Fabian's neck, snapping a selfie with him. Fabian looked a little dazed, probably drunk. In the second, she was sitting on his lap. In the third, she had collapsed into his arms. Perfect. Intimate enough. Chapter 18. I didn't expect July to go completely off the rails. She sent me a photo of a condom. Who said Fabian won't touch me? He already has. The image was disgusting. I couldn't even look straight at it. After taking a long breath, I messaged her. And just from that photo, why should I believe it's Fabian? Soon after, she sent another picture, this time of a bare-chested man, afraid she might delete it. I saved it instantly. In the photo, Fabian had his eyes closed. July's pale hand was pressed against his lips. The vibe was unmistakably suggestive. Perfect. This was the cheating evidence I needed. I printed out all the photos July and VP Ning had sent me, 3 copies. One for Fabian, one for the court, and one for my mom. Then I filed a lawsuit, accusing Fabian of adultery during the marriage, and requested a divorce where he walked away with nothing. The court accepted the case quickly. The day Fabian received the summons, he contacted me using his childhood friend's phone. I saw the photos. We've been married, there's no need to make things ugly. If you want a divorce, I'll agree. Fine. How do we split the assets? You get the bank account and the house. We split the company shares 50/50ths. No, I want 51%. He looked like a wilted eggplant, drained and defeated. He agreed to everything I said. Fine. Think of it as compensation, for you and the baby. With that, I hung up. A week later, our divorce was finalized. The day after he transferred the shares to me, I sold 49% of them to VP Ning. That made Ning and Fabian equal shareholders in the company. They kept each other in check, each unable to dominate the other. And the 2% of shares I held? That gave me the power to flip control of the entire company at any time. By holding that 2%, I was effectively gripping the heart of everything Fabian had built. If he ever dared cross me again, I could just hand those shares to VP Ning. From that day on, Fabian never dared provoke me again. Chapter 19. I didn't understand why, even after the divorce, July still clung to me like a ghost that wouldn't go away. She sent me a message out of nowhere, cursing me. Clara, you're so shameless. What right do you have to take so much of Fabian's assets? I said. Fabian was willing to give them. She was livid. He gave you the money out of guilt for the child who died, not because he loved you. It's your fault for being so vicious. Using the baby's photo to scare him, I replied with one final line. I'm not the vicious one. You both are. Then I blocked her again. A clean break from a mess of a past. Life finally felt quiet again. When Amanda visited my villa one day, she shared a secret with me. After you divorced Fabian, he called me. What did he want? Amanda propped her chin on her hand as she recalled. He said, when Clara lost the baby and I went to see her, she was lying in bed like an empty shell, like she could die any moment. That moment scared me. I won't contact her again. Please take good care of her for me. Amanda scolded him. You're the worst. Regret that comes too late is worth less than dirt. Get lost, and stay away from us. After hearing this, I gave a faint, wry smile. So it was true what they say, people always yearn for what they can't have. One day, I ran into one of Fabian's childhood friends on the street. He greeted me warmly. Sister-in-law, you know July didn't marry Fabian, right? She's a piece of work. Whenever Fabian doesn't give in to her, she threatens to slit her wrists. Fabian's terrified of her now. I didn't care to hear anything more. I gave him a cold glance. And what's that got to do with me? Don't bother me. Let them torment each other for the rest of their lives. I'll live happily on my own. Extra chapter. Ever since that huge argument with my mom, I hadn't gone home. But divorce isn't a small matter, I had to tell her eventually. So on Sunday, I went back. I looked around the house, but she wasn't there. I asked a neighbor, Ma'am, do you know where my mom went? She pointed down the street. Try looking there, she's probably selling oranges. I frowned. Selling oranges? In the dead of winter? I hurried toward the street. As I turned a corner, I saw my mom clutching a handful of oranges and arguing with a burly man. Young man, You ate 2 already. How can you just walk away without buying? So what if I ate a couple? I don't want to buy them, okay? Stop guilt-tripping me with this elderly act, it's practically robbery. My mom grabbed the man's sleeve and shouted, "How can you bully an old woman?" He sneered, "Lady, you must be crazy poor. I ate 2 damn oranges, and you won't let it go?" Just as he was about to push her, I rushed in to stop him. "If you've got a problem, take it out on me. Don't you dare touch my mom." The man met my glare and stormed off, cursing under his breath. My mom kept muttering, "Young people these days, no manners. They won't buy anything but still eat for free." I snapped, "Seriously? Why are you, an elderly woman, getting into fights with some random guy? Do you even realize what could have happened? If I hadn't shown up, I might have been visiting you in a hospital right now." My mom lowered her head and said nothing. She started picking up the fallen oranges one by one, brushing them off and putting them back into the basket. Her hands were red from the cold. My anger surged again. "It's freezing today. Why on earth are you out here selling these damn oranges instead of staying home?" Her hands paused. She muttered softly, "I need to make money." "For what? Haven't I given you enough?" She looked up at me. "You're divorced now. You have no one to rely on. Who knows what the future holds? I need to help you save some money. I've struggled alone most of my life. I know how hard it is to live on your own." My chest ached. Tears rolled silently down my cheeks. She really was a stubborn old woman. She still thought divorce was something tragic and shameful. But in truth, divorce isn't the opposite of marriage. Marriage is about finding happiness. And so is divorce.